Bronwyn Bishop's chartered flights, high-end European hotels and expensive rides to the opera have all kept the issue of MPs' entitlements on the agenda over the last week, and it's led to calls by some crossbenchers to put a cap on expenses. An investigation by the Drummers found the current crop of coalition-backed benchers and senators have cost the taxpayer almost $90,000 more on average than their Labor counterparts since the last election. Now, that's according to analysis of the Finance Department documents, which show a wide disparity between how much politicians spend in parliamentary entitlements. It's true that being in government costs more than being in opposition, but the $90,000 difference holds true even after ministers, the outer ministry and parliamentary secretaries are taken out of the equation. Mike Clay has the details.
The Speaker, Bronwyn Bishop, has gone viral since we learnt of her love of air travel. What she's also done is raise the issue of parliamentary entitlements, and she's not the only one spending big. The bottom line is this: the current crop of coalition backbenchers and senators are more expensive than their Labor counterparts, and that's ignoring those in the ministry, outer ministry and parliamentary secretaries who would naturally spend more. We've run the numbers, and on average for this parliament, coalition backbenchers and senators have spent $565,000 each between June 2013 and December 2014. By contrast, their Labor counterparts have spent $472,000 over the same period. That's $90,000 less. The Greens are a tad cheaper, averaging $468,000, with the average independent or minor party politician a bargain at just $365,000. So, does the evidence support the calls for change?
So obviously ministers are going to use more entitlements. They have a lot more travelling to do. In my case, I think that the allowances are more than sufficient, and in an attempt to save the taxpayer money, I think in my case it could be scaled down. If there was a proposed cap on entitlements, I would definitely be willing to look at it.
It's about time, high time, it was put under public scrutiny. There's no doubt about that, and not just the Labor Party, the whole lot, right across the board.
No surprises for guessing who's spent the most in this parliament. Prime Minister Tony Abbott, who's claimed $2.5 million in entitlements, the largest chunk of which is overseas travel. Taking silver and bronze are the Foreign Minister Julie Bishop and the Trade Minister Andrew Robb. But the fourth place goes to a Liberal backbencher, Tony Passon. Never heard of him? That's no surprise. The South Australian has only been in Parliament for less than 2 years, but in that time he managed to rack up a hefty bill. Now, a lot of that was not entirely of his making. $500,000 was spent fitting out his office, with another $500,000 spent on office facilities and admin costs. Now, politicians can request their offices be refitted, but they have no control over how much money is spent. The Finance Department does that.
I was shocked to learn of the costs involved in the Department of Finance managed fit-out of MPs' offices, and I share the view that these costs, over which parliamentarians have little control, appear to be excessive.
Some of the differences in spending could be explained by the fact that the coalition is made up of national and country Liberal MPs, who largely come from regional electorates. But it doesn't explain the total discrepancy. So is it time to consider a cap on MPs' entitlements?